Thank you, moderator. A very good evening to everybody, to all the Datuk, Yang Berhormat, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Okay, the slides that we've actually prepared is actually from the Bar Council Human Rights Committee. Let me just start by giving you an overall picture of what the DNA ID Bill in Malaysia is all about. And then we go into what kind of problems would arise if we have this bill as an act in Malaysia. Okay, let's start with the next slide, please. Okay, a little bit of a background. Coming from lawyers and not from scientists, what we can gather is that, you know, when you have DNA samples, the molecules actually hold information about things that may not be decipherable now. We need to say what we can gather is because of science and technology today. In the future, there may be developments in science and technology. So what the bill allows is for the government or the DNA data bank to keep all these DNA samples. So meaning to say information that cannot be derived now can be derived later on in the future when we have the proper technology. The second point I actually think about is this. DNA information is like a diary, and it's very probable that, you know, it shows your physical and mental condition of a person. Scientists can even find out how your past mental capabilities are, and they can even predict in the future how your mental capabilities are as well. And it not only tells a story about you. DNA evidence actually tells a story about your parents, your siblings, you know, what actually holds. And of course, it can be stopped for a long time. Those are the little bit facts, some short facts about what DNA samples are. Now let's go to the legal background. Next slide, please. Thank you. We don't have a blanket right of privacy in Malaysia. Privacy right is not enshrined in the Federal Constitution of Malaysia. Okay, the little rights of privacy that we have is really piecemeal in nature. Okay, we can fall back on common law, which is we can have confidential information, for example, like for trade secrets. So if we want to protect your company secrets, we actually fall on this area of the law. But it's very restricted, it's limited, it's not in regard to personal information. Or even you can actually have specific legislation. For example, the government at one time was trying to push data protection bill, but obviously this is not an act yet. So what I'm trying to say is we don't have blanket covering for privacy rights. Next slide, please. Thank you. Okay, the government is saying that the reasons why we need the DNA ID bill is number one, to actually exonerate the innocent. What does that mean? It means to say, if you have DNA evidence, you can actually prove that a person is innocent. He is not the perpetrator of crime. Then, of course, the next reason they gave was you can actually identify the criminals, you know, the people who actually committed the crime. DNA evidence taken from the scene of a crime can actually show who is the person. And of course, to clear murderers, rapists, and all that from the streets. These are all very noble intentions. But really, what does the bill do? Excellent. Well, it doesn't go into the specifics. It doesn't say what type of technology or techniques to be used when you actually analyze DNA samples. The techniques or technologies could be flawed. Now, I'm not saying that the current technology we have in Malaysia is flawed. What I'm saying is the bill does not provide that this system be updated, the technology and techniques be updated. Then, if you look at the type of samples that we collected, you can see that the government thinks that saliva is actually a non-intimate sample. Now, that cannot be right. How could you say that sample, which is actually in our mouth, is actually a non-intimate sample? It is an intimate sample, and you know, it doesn't make sense. And of course, then if you look at how the bill is actually done, the head of the DNA data bank is actually a police officer, and he answers to the Home Minister. And the bill actually gives the Minister wide powers to direct, okay, and regulate the DNA data bank. And if you look into the index, okay, what kind of people that the police are allowed to collect samples from? Suspected criminals, convicted criminals, detained people, example, detainees under the ISA Act, drug dependents, missing people, volunteers. In fact, anybody in this room, as long as the police suspect that you've actually committed something, or maybe even stolen a bicycle, you can actually ask you for a sample of your DNA. How does it connect? I don't know. I mean, the tap of a bicycle or parking on the yellow line, does that actually warrant DNA samples? Okay, that's another question. Okay, the next thing is, police have wide powers in obtaining intimate and non-intimate samples. There are no safeguards in the bill okay, against abuse of powers by the police. For example, we look into clause 13 sub 7. For non-intimate samples, the police can use any means necessary. Okay, we look into it in detail. So this leaves a lot of questions to be answered. Next slide. Okay, then there's this infamous clause. We call it the conclusive evidence clause. Not mistaken, it's clause 24. And it says this: all DNA evidence is conclusive. Meaning to say, if the DNA data bank actually says, okay, this is the person, then it is conclusive evidence that that person is the perpetrator of the crime. What happens is in court, it could be put in a situation whereby the judge doesn't really have to do any weighing of the evidence, which is what normally the judge is required to do in court. He's supposed to take the evidence, compare with the rest of the other evidence together, and decide whether or not the person committed the crime. Now, with the DNA evidence, you don't need that exercise anymore. It's conclusive evidence that is the person. Okay? And then the accused does not have the opportunity to question about the DNA sample. And it really disregards that DNA evidence could be planted, and then DNA evidence cannot actually tell time. Now, what does that mean? DNA evidence could be found in a place, okay, of a person A, but it doesn't mean that person A committed the crime. It could be that person B came, killed the person, never left any evidence and went off. So that person A will be involved. Now, if we use the conclusive evidence clause, person A will be in a big trouble, right? So these are the issues that the bill actually brings from